Good afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, and a very warm welcome to St. John the Evangelist on this fundraising concert, which we're very grateful to Peter Christie, our organist, for having organised it, and for Mr. Ralph McDonald for singing for us, giving his time and his talents for this cause. That's really very kind and generous of both of them. Also, you'll notice at the bottom of your programme that you're all invited afterwards for tea and coffee and home baking. And if you want to take the short route towards that, we go through that door. We can go through the back door on out to the hall afterwards. And thank you for your donations too. There'll be an opportunity, if you haven't had the chance yet, to donate later, but thank you for those who have so far. Now, I think that's the thank yous and the acknowledgements over, so I'm going to hand over to Peter and Ralph. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming along, and we're looking forward to this concert very much. I don't normally start with an apology at concerts, but yesterday I woke up with no voice. Some voices come back today, but if you hear any strange squeaks or squalls coming out of my mouth, just pretend you didn't hear them. So we have a varied program for you this afternoon, and we'd like to start with the aria from the turn of the 16th, 17th century, Vittoria, Vittoria.
Vittoria, Vittoria, mio cuore.
course, was an Austrian composer living at the same time as his famous counterpart, Mozart. Mozart was renowned for being fairly quirky in character and being rude to nearly everybody he met. But Joseph Haydn was a much more relaxed and kind-hearted man and was known as Papa Haydn. Very prolific in composing, he composed 104 symphonies and many string quartets and umpteen piano sonatas. These two songs I'm going to sing now come from a set of songs called 6 canzonets, all set to English texts. This She Never Told a Love, of course, is the setting of the famous Shakespeare text, and this will be followed by the Sailor Song, a rather boisterous number. The first one, She Never Told a Love, does not have many lines to sing, but is constructed in such a way as almost like a mini opera in 3 pages, and describes patience sitting on the monument.
Smiling, the giddy bending mast, the seaman bears a reddening sail. And fearless of the rushing blast, he careless whistles to the gale. Rattling ropes and rolling seas, hurdy-burdy, hurdy-burdy. No death can him displease, can him displease. Hurdy-burdy, 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 hurdy-burdy. No death can him displease, can him displease, can him displease. The hostile foe his vessel seeks, high bounding o'er the raging main. The roaring cannon loudly speaks, 'tis Britain's glory we maintain. 'Tis Britain's glory we maintain. Rattling ropes and rolling seas, hurdy-burdy, hurdy-burdy. No death can him displease, can him displease. Hurdy-burdy, 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 hurdy-burdy. No death can him displease, can him displease, can him displease.
It'd be a shame to come down to this part of the world, ladies and gentlemen, not sing two songs about the sea. So I'm going to sing you two of the most famous songs in the English classical repertoire. Sea Fever, set to a text by John Masefield, by John Ireland, and the second one, also set to Masefield, by Frederick Keel, The Trade Winds.
I must go down to the seas again, to the veiny sea and the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer by, and the wheels kick and the wind song, and the white sail shaking, and a grey mist on the sea's face, and a great ombre. I must go down to the seas again, for the call of the running tide is a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying, and the flung spray and the blown spume, and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gulls' way and the whales' way, with the winds like a wetted knife. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and a sweet dream. When the lone tricks fall,
We move on now to some lieder, ladies and gentlemen, with slight connections to Scotland in certain places. The first song, Gesegnet sei by Hugo Wolf, comes from his Italienisch Liederbuch, and this is the number 4 of the cycle. We praise God, we give praise to Him through the world and everywhere He oversees, as it were. He created paradise, He created the ocean with its immense depths, He created the little ships that sail on top of the ocean, but most of all, He created the beauty in your face. The second one, On Wings of Song, by Mendelssohn, is a very famous melody. You'll recognize it as soon as you hear it. We're probably more used to hearing the wedding march in a building like this, but Mendelssohn did write a huge number of songs and duets, and this is one of his most beautiful, beautiful songs.
Yes, this piece has a certain resonance for me because when I was a child, my parents only had a wind-up 78 gramophone with the old shellac discs back in the 1920s when I was a lad. And to get me to go to sleep every night as a baby, they would play On Wings of Song on this old record player, a piano and a cello. So I have a lifelong affection for this piece, and I'll try very hard to stay awake during it.
poetry of Robert Burns was very popular in Europe and especially in Germany, and was set to music by people like Schumann and Haydn and Beethoven. This particular poem, Dem roten Röslein, is the setting of My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. And this will be followed by probably a song you all learned when you were in primary school, Seligkeit. I won't say any more about it, because I'm sure I'll see smiles on your faces as soon as you hear the introduction. So firstly, the Burns setting. Dem roten Röslein gleich, mein Lieb, in niemand erblüht. Mein Lieb ist eine Melodie, vor der die Seele glüht. Wie schön du bist, geliebte Maid, wie wird das Herz mir schwer, und lieben wird's dich immer da, bist trocken, Strom und Meer, und werde trocken, Strom und Meer, und stolz im Fels und Stein. Ich würde denn noch lebenslang dir Herz und Seele weihen. Nun holdes Liebchen, lebe wohl, leb wohl, du süße Maid. Bald kenn ich wieder, wenn ich auf 10.000 Meilen weit. Freuden Sonderzahl, blühen im Himmel so, Engel und Verklärten, wie die Väter lehrten. Oder möcht ich sein und mich ewig freuen, und mich ewig freuen. Jede Arthur Sullivan, of course, is of no mystery or secret to you all, due to his famous partnership with Gilbert in the Doyle-Cart operas. But apart from these particular works, Sullivan also wrote many occasional works, overtures, and works for festivals, and also a collection of solo English songs, nothing to do with the operas. This particular setting is another setting of a Shakespeare text, Orpheus with his lute, or lute, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Who would say lute and who would say lute? Who knows? You would say lute, as an L-O-O-T.
Yes.
Anybody say L the other way? Lute. Only the very affected members, maybe. I'll be singing the L-O-O-T version. Right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being such an appreciative audience, and thank you again for coming along and supporting the church and supporting us, of course. Finishing off now with 3 Irish folk songs. I'm not sure what the Spanish lady is doing in Dublin, but maybe we'll find out. As I walked down through Dublin city at the hour of 12 of the night, who should I spy but a Spanish lady washing her feet by candlelight? First she washed them, then she dried them o'er a fire of amber coal, and all my life I ne'er did see a maid so neat about the soul. Oh, whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay, whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay. As I came back through Dublin city at the hour of 8:30, who should I spy but a Spanish lady brushing her hair in broad daylight? First she lost it, then she brushed it, on her lap was a silver comb. In all my life I ne'er did see so fair a maid since I did roam. Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora laddie. As I went down through Dublin city when the sun began to set, who should I see but a Spanish lady catching a moth in a golden net? When she saw me then she fled, lifting her petticoat over the knee, and all my life I ne'er did spy a maid so blithe as a Spanish lady. Oh, whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora.
to Banbridge town on the county down on a morning in July. Down a bowling green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. Oh, she looked so neat from her 2 white feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing nerve, I had to shake myself to make sure I was really there. Oh, from Bantry Bay up to Derry Gay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. As she onward sped, I scratched my head and I said with a feeling queer. Then I said I to a passerby, who's the maid with the nut brown hair? Oh, he smiled at me and replied, says he, that's the Giacomo Island's crown. Young Rosie McCann frae the banks of the ban, she's a star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Gay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. At the harvest fair she'll be surely there's one dress in my Sunday clothes, and a tri-sheep's eyes and the Lutheran lies on the heart of the nut brown rose. No pipe I smoke, no horse I yoke, though my brow be thrust to brown, till a smiling bride by my own fireside sits a star of the county down. Oh, from Bantry Bay up to Derry Gay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Ralph and Peter, for your beautiful playing and for your lovely singing.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. A particular treat, she moved through the fair. That's one of my favourites, perhaps actually my all-time favourite Irish song. And how clever of you to know that traditionally it is always sung unaccompanied. Beautiful, because it has that lovely free movement. But a very beautiful programme, and the organ music complemented it wonderfully. Thank you so much. Ralph, this is just a very tiny little token of
That's very
appreciation.
kind. Thank you very much.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's very
again.
kind. Thanks
And
a lot.
Peter, your reward will be in heaven. Thank you very much. Just want to say yours isn't too late. Do join us for tea and cake in the hall next door. You can go out round the side of the church to the hall that way, or through this door. And thank you so much for coming, being part of this afternoon's entertainment. Thank you for your support. Thank you.